friends, it's Amy from Doki Doki Forest, and today I will be working on a prompt from Junk Journal January, sponsored by Meg Journals. I'll leave the information down below. And I am on day 28. I'm so close to finishing. And the prompt for day 28 was antique. So at first I was going to make a page and try to find a beautiful old antique kind of vase or maybe a sewing machine or something like that. And then I decided to do something that felt a little more relatable to me. I thought, you know what, I'm going to draw a nice vase, but I'm going to draw this big monster who's like gone to the museum, or maybe he's gone to someone's house and there's this beautiful vase just sitting on the table, a nice antique vase. It's been around for, 100 years plus, maybe even longer, maybe even 1,000 years, who knows. So he goes near it and, he admires it. He's like, oh, what a beautiful vase, he's a monster. He doesn't really care too much about the vase, but he's being polite. And then he doesn't realize how big he is and how big his tail is. And all of a sudden, crash! The vase falls down and smashes. And he's like, oh. And I kind of feel like this monster a lot of the time. I feel like I can be a little bit clumsy. So, so that's what I'm going with for this page. I changed from my original idea of having something beautiful and having something that was beautiful, and now it's smashed on the floor. So I'm painting that, and I was also thinking that what I could do would be to make the vase on the table into like a flap that could open, and then behind it I could hide the smashed vase, so it's sort of like interactive. Everything looks fine. You're like, oh, why does that little monster look worried? And then you open the flap and you're like, oh, I see what's going on. He's had a little accident. And Sophia's clicking around. So if you hear clicking, it's always my dog Sophia. She likes to get restless when I'm doing the voiceover. I think she's settled now, though. But yeah, so I am using my watercolors. I'm using the big palette today. I have a few different watercolor palettes. A lot of times I'll just use my smaller one, mostly because it's easier to put on the desk and bring around with me. But I've got the big one out today, and it barely fits on the desk because my art desk is just loaded with stuff right now. So, but I'm making it work. So yeah, painting, putting the final touches on everything, and then once this dries, I will cut it out and assemble it on the page. And I tried to make everything to scale so it would fit on there, because the page isn't that big. And then as I add the shadow, I wait for the first layer to dry, and then I go in and I just add a little bit of shadow here and there, just to give it a little bit of depth. I didn't do too much with that, like I said, it's just a little here and there. So what do you think? Can you relate to this little beastie? Do you feel like if you're around something fragile, you're like, oh no, I'm gonna be the one that like knocks it over or breaks it, or someone hands you something really fragile and you're like, oh, I shouldn't hold this. I love antiques, but I'll admit, when I'm in an antique store, I can be a little extra careful. I'm like, okay, I don't want to bump that table. It's like loaded with all kinds of precious things. Let's see, am I still, oh, okay, so I'm done painting, and now just a little of this gel pen, not too much. I was just trying to add some detail on the vase and table, just some of the wood grain. And now I've cut out my pieces, and here's my page. So it's an old book page, which I thought worked with the antique theme as well, because it is an old book. And this this little beastie is painted on some thick paper, so I'm using the tacky glue and I'm using my heart-shaped rock to try to weigh it down. I find that if I use rocks, they work better than the binder clips a lot of the time. And now I'm attaching my little flappy flip-flap page here with some washi, and I added some tacky glue on the washi as well, because sometimes that washi just peels up, it doesn't hold. Nope, it wasn't tacky glue. I actually added some glue stick. See, I forgot what I used. Good thing I have a video. And now I'm just trying to position, or I did position the vase so you don't see it when you have the flap closed. And then I was looking for my that brown distress ink, but I couldn't find it, so I'm just using this pink one because that's what I had. And just trying to put a little something on the page. And now I felt like there needed to be something around this broken glass, like maybe in a comic book, you know, when they have those dramatic lines, like something happened, you know, like something. But I felt like everything I was doing, I didn't like how it came out. So I had drawn these lines on, but I didn't really like that, so I tried to smooth it out. And then I was just trying to age the edges of the paper with a little bit of watercolor and a little bit of just the distress ink that's already on there. So now I'm gessoing what I had done because I didn't like it. Oh, I forgot to mention too, but I had outlined it with a Posca pen, and then I thought, well, that doesn't look right because it's not like a complete vase. It's supposed to be a bunch of pieces. So when I outlined it, it made it look like it was still one shape, if you know what I mean, like it was still put together. So I didn't like that. So this is what happens when I make a page. I do something and then I'm like, no, I don't like that. And then I just kind of keep tinkering with it. It's like my experiment page all over again when I blow up the page. So then I figured, oh, wait a minute. I think I know what I need to do. I think I need to make some pieces that are like broken out and separate from that big piece. So that way it looks more like a smashed vase. So that's what I did. I cut out little tiny pieces and painted them. And I'm trying to be careful I don't go past that flap. So I was being really careful to keep everything tucked in just the right spot. And then I drew a piece of the vase that was outside of it immediately after checking. So gesso went right on that to cover that up. And it's all done. Here's our little beastie who's broken an antique vase, the poor little guy. And you know, someone can journal on that back of that vase if they want to, but that's my page. Thank you so much for stopping by. I love when you come by to visit and hope to see you again soon. Have a great day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.